Carolyn Doobie here. What's the play for today? Well, today I've got a quick video for you where I am using up leftover paint on my paint palette. Yeah, it was an oops that I squirted out this much paint. It was way more than what I needed, but it allowed me the opportunity of being able to just play and let loose and be free at the end on a piece of scrap paper I found on my counter. Well, here it is, the deep thought of randomly putting paint in places. When I paused right there with that pink in my hand, that was because the phone was ringing and I was trying to decide, should I answer the phone or should I keep playing? And you know what? Clearly, I've chosen to keep playing. I've got my priorities straight. It was probably a telemarketer anyway. Now my goal here is to use up the paint that I have on my palette. This paper that is irregularly shaped here, that's because it's a scrap piece of paper that I cut out for some other project. Basically, it was stuff lying around. So I'm going to use up the paint that I have with whatever paper I have right around me. Not a lot of thought going into this. It's really all about just how can I get as much color on there and use up as much paint as possible. Well, now I've given this time to dry. No, I haven't. You know I haven't. You can still see the shine on that paint. I have not given this time to dry. I am grabbing this stencil created by Mary Beth Shaw over at StencilGirl Products, and I am going to stencil right on wet paint. My goal here is to use up paint. I'm having fun playing. I am not trying to make anything precise or perfect. So along the way, there are probably going to be some paint smears or some messy things happening. Now I want to put some blue lines on top of the green down at the bottom, but it's an irregular shape. That's not going to be a problem with the stencil because I can see through it and I can see where things are. I will admit that it does help to have a cleaner stencil to do this than my usually super dirty ones, and it is pure luck as to why this one is clean, and a long story for another day. But anyway, that gives me some blue lines down in the green. Well, that big splot of orange in the middle, that was calling for something a little bit bigger. So I'm going to grab the women from the Finding Your Tribe stencil, and I'm going to stencil those right on there. Yep, I think I just touched some wet paint because it's still super shiny, so you guys can see how much wet paint I've still got on here. I'm going to get it positioned, and again, I am going to be using it just to stencil on the orange. Now I can do this even with a very dirty stencil because this is how most of my stencils usually look, by just seeing where the orange is. So I'm just going to stencil over wherever there's the orange. So whether your stencil's clean or dirty, you can still do this. With the goal of using up all that leftover paint on my paint palette, I am absolutely using a ton of paint, and whenever you use a lot of paint with a stencil, there's a good chance something's going to run underneath it, that you're not going to get a perfectly crisp line, and I am clearly a-okay with that here. Well, now what I'm going to do is use my never-ending calendar stencil, and I really just want the numbers off of it. I'm not using it as a calendar. I just want a row of numbers to go right on top of that yellow, which is so wet. You can see how it kind of sticks to it as I peel the stencil up. Yeah, it's just super juicy wet. And I'm okay with that because the alternative is for me to either wait for this to dry or dry it with a heat gun, and those two things are not happening today. Well, now a few final touches to it. I'm going to put some white around it. Since again it's so wet, I'm going to bring in the fine liner, and if you're not familiar with the fine liners, I've got a video for you. You can find the link down below in the video description about all about fine liners and how they work and why I use them when I need to write on wet paint. Well, thanks for joining me for today's play. If you've been enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you know someone that you think would enjoy a little play in their day, I'd so appreciate it if you shared this video with them. And would you like some more play? I've got more of it waiting for you over on the blog at acolorfuljourney.com, in my free newsletter with downloadable videos and PDFs and goodies waiting for you. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of your colorful journey.